Hello, and welcome. My name is Mike Thomas, and I am the San Juan County Manager, and I'm sitting today here in the Marie Bow building at the County Fairgrounds. And this building is our EOC, and so you can see some of the whiteboards and wires and phones behind me, and this was used for our response. Most of the folks here are working remotely to practice safe distancing. So again, I'm the county manager, and my job with the county is varied. I work for the council. I'm essentially their chief of staff and help them with budget and policy development and constituency issues. I also manage all of the non-elected departments like public works and health and parks, and then a bunch of administrative functions having to do with human resources and risk and facilities. And work with a number of boards and commissions, and I work in concert with all the elected officials to try to support what they do and achieve some common goals that we have at the county. So a varied job. With respect to the EOC, I kind of ebb and flow in and out of the EOC depending on what the conversation or need is. I'm in the policy group on the org chart, but I get into a lot of issues just because of the overlap with the county government itself. And so whether it's a conversation on procurement or public messaging, at times I weigh in and out and try to support whatever function the EOC needs help. So just kind of what's needed. So what is the county doing to keep its employees healthy is one of the first questions posed to me today. A number of things, really what you're doing, I would assume. So it's social distancing, it's cleaning, we've increased our janitorial, we have closed our buildings, both for the public safety and for our employee safety. Employees work at home, they vary their hours, and so if there are employees in the building, there are a limited number of employees. We have assessed our crews and what they do to minimize congregating them together. So some different projects, isolations on machines. Again, it's just really trying to maintain that social distancing. From a council perspective, we've changed the workload. A lot of the things that we were working on, like the comp plan, typically garner a lot of public comment. Because of changes to the Open Public Meeting Act by the governor, council meetings are a really different thing now. So you don't have physical public access to the council. You can submit questions before the council meeting, you can submit questions during the council meeting, but it's all done remotely. And so because of that, we want to put on hold some of the larger issues that the council's been working on that we know people are interested in. So really, we're focusing on COVID-19 response and then stuff that we have to get done related to the budget or other fiscal matters. So trying to just to really focus the organization on the COVID response. So because of that different interface, when we have closed buildings but we have people working, it changes how the public interacts with us and how we interact with the public. So there is a list on the county website. If you go to the website, just the homepage, you see the big blue banner that says COVID-19. If you push on that, it'll just take you to a massive amount of information. But one of those pieces of information has to do with county departments, and each county department went through and they kind of listed by activity how best to interact. So whether that's email or a phone call, electronic submittal, there's information, whether it's the auditor or community development or health, that will guide you on how to transact the business that you want to do. So hopefully that's working. The other thing that the EOC is putting out, which I think is really helpful, is they're putting out a series of hot topics. So those hot topics reflect really what the conversation in the community is at times. So is the county doing anything related to property tax? Is there compliance with transient rental accommodations? What about construction? So we put those together to help provide some information, help interpret the governor's order, help reinforce the local health officer order. Those are also really good resource guides, and there's now 15 of those called Hot Topics. So I would urge you to take a look at those, and hopefully they'll provide you with some extra guidance. So the other question is, what role does the county play in the COVID-19 pandemic response? And I'd say a very large role. As a county, we have, like all counties in Washington State, we have a health department. We have a health officer, we have a board of health. Our council sits on the board of health along with some other folks, including Dr. James, a health officer. We have a health department with great staff that do a variety of things. So we are kind of front and center on the COVID response. So if you marry up the health resource with our emergency management folks, that really gives the shape of the COVID-19 response. And again, we have staff from really every department providing time and expertise towards the EOC and its response. So the other question we get, what's on hold right now? We are assessing our workload, frankly. Part of it because we have been staffing the EOC. Part of it, our workload is affected because of the stay-at-home order. So perhaps some of the supplies that we typically get from the mainland we can't get, or they can't be transported here. So that's kind of an ongoing evaluation, but I would say definitely some of our larger capital projects. We have a question right now if or when we're going to do chip seal this year. And the answer to that is unknown because we don't know what the governor's going to do post May 4th, which is the end date for his order. So I think really the concentration is just try to provide the services that we are typically provide and staff the EOC. Hi, I've switched locations. I'm now outside on the Beaverton Valley property where we have a lot of our public works and facilities functions. So behind me is a large pile of chip rock that's part of this year's chip rock program. But I'm out here to show that to you because it's a good example of an unknown. We don't know if we can safely congregate our crews together to work on that project. We don't know if we can get product from our off-island supplier that provides the oil. So just a good example of things change weekly here at the county, and we continue to try to find ways to do business. But I think there's a lot of stuff that we're just going to have to put on hold and concentrate on the services that we can provide, and put off a few things and do them when we can. So one of the remaining questions is, what is the county hearing now? And so I would say, of course, we're continuing to hear things regarding the virus and health, but we've heard a lot about transient accommodations, folks coming to the island. So we have put out press this week reminding folks from off-island that they should not be traveling here unless they are essential. Per Dr. James' health order, folks that do come here need to self-quarantine for 14 days. So we are messaging as much as we can to remind folks that they probably should not be here unless, again, that they are essential. We're also aware of and hearing more reports of just the social and economic impact that the virus has already caused. So we hear about the food bank issues, we hear about the need through our resource centers, we hear about people losing their jobs. So part of our assessment right now is how can the county integrate into existing groups, into existing nonprofits, and provides assistance in some way. There's no one way for the county to step in on some of these issues, but we're game. We want to try to figure out how to be a partner, and so we have a number of conversations ongoing. And I would just ask people not to be frustrated with the county because some of the stuff isn't traditionally what we do, but that means we don't necessarily have an immediate answer, but it doesn't mean that we're not interested, and we certainly aren't going to, it doesn't mean that we're not going to try to be a good partner. So we're really going to turn our attention to, again, the social and economic impacts because they are going to be profound. Lastly, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for listening. And I'd like to thank again the community, whether it's the folks at the EOC, folks in the community that are helping their neighbors, folks that are making lunches. Everyone has done something to help out their community, and it is just an awesome thing to be a part of, and I thank you. So be well, and again, thank you for listening.